Long before anything existed to walk across it, our planet was a chaotic engine of churning rock and fire. The young Earth was dominated by raw, violent physical power. The surface was a sensory nightmare. Heavy, dark clouds trapped a thick, toxic atmosphere against the ground. Thunder rolled over the barren rock, and lightning struck repeatedly, illuminating a landscape that remained stubbornly empty. No biological signature existed here. No green forests spreading over the continents, no peaceful blue oceans, and no living creatures to take a breath. These conditions were hostile to existence. With extreme temperatures and crushing atmospheric pressure, the surface served as a violent barrier to anything delicate. But far beneath the storms, deep inside the ancient ocean, the environment shifted. Down in the darkness, the water was warm, silent, and filled with a floating soup of strange chemicals. This animated diagram shows how those invisible, non-living chemicals drifted for millions of years. Eventually, their random collisions became organized, and they began to snap together into structured, complex geometric patterns. After countless variations, one of those patterns crossed a threshold. A single semi-translucent sphere separates from the surrounding fluid, the first microscopic living cell. Earth's transition from a geological engine into a biological one occurred without an audience. In the total darkness of the deep sea, life began in secret. This tiny anomaly faced severe physical limitations. It had no brain to think and no eyes to see the ocean around it. It was smaller than a speck of dust floating in a massive, dangerous sea. Yet, it was alive. This infographic shows its three mechanical traits: absorbing energy, maintaining a protective boundary, and splitting to replicate. This followed a strict mathematical progression. 1 became 2, 2 became 4. Over time, a single speck multiplied into millions of identical drifting units. This relentless math was life's primary defense. Against the violent scale of a crushing planet, rapid multiplication ensured that biology would endure. But endless multiplication requires a constant fuel source. As populations grew, life faced an energy crisis. To survive, certain cells innovated by floating upward to capture raw sunlight. This flowchart shows photosynthesis, converting light into power. A cell absorbs a solar vector, ejecting oxygen. A line graph spikes as oxygen floods the ocean. Initially toxic, this forced adaptation. The data flow reverses. Surviving cells absorb oxygen, using it as fuel to multiply rapidly. Surviving the oxygen crisis unlocked the energy surplus required to build larger, complex organisms. Individual cells began joining into organized groups. These clusters scaled up into the ocean's first soft-bodied creatures, which could actively move through the currents rather than just drifting. Life launched an invasion of the land. This time-lapse shows creeping moss and early vegetation spreading across volcanic rock, breaking down stone to create soil. With the land prepared by plants, a biological expansion followed. Creatures crawled out of the water to breathe the oxygen-rich air. Insects took hold, reptiles soon appeared, and mammals walked across the continents. That microscopic speck from the dark ocean successfully terraformed the planet, rebuilding the surface into an environment designed to sustain itself. Millions of years after those first plants touched the rock, we reach the present day and the arrival of modern humans. It is easy to view our cities and technology as something separate from the wild world, as if we arrived independently of the history that preceded us. But your lungs are processing that same oxygen byproduct right now. The heartbeat driving blood through your veins uses the same energy cycle perfected by those earliest cells. Human consciousness and biology are the latest iterations of an unbroken chain of survival stretching back to that original ocean. Our planet began in deafening thunder and empty silence. Today, it is filled with forests, the calls of wild animals, and streams of human voices. You are composed of that ancient ocean. The heat of the storm and the resilience of the first cell are physically written into your body. Every breath connects back to that original ocean, framing the history of biology as the personal origin story of every person watching.